Good afternoon and welcome. Looks like everything's working. Hopefully everybody's having a good day. It is Wednesday, so I am actually... Today I'm correct. Today is the right day for me to stream. But it is. I have to work on the Bluetooth of the computer. I don't know why it's being a punk. My Bluetooth is not crisp like it should be. I have to double check my Bluetooth settings, which is never fun. Bluetooth is not a fun thing to deal with. That there. Do you fix yourself? Actually. Huh. That's weird. I don't know why that's a thing. Oh well. Anyways. We're here. We're doing another New York route. Which I'm not happy about. But this is one of the longer ones. This leads to XP, this leads to a badge. This leads to a bunch of things, so we'll work on getting it done. And I'm not racing it, so. Music. Bluetooth being super finicky today. More so than normal. Because I have to use this fan other places in the room right now. It won't be the case eventually, but for right now. Ha, ha. Hey, Llama, how's it going? This is my chill day. I've done too many stupid things lately. I'm trying to be responsible. How are you doing? As it is, I'm grudgingly doing New York. Again. Even though I feel like all of October and November has been New York, even though I know it hasn't. My New York PTSD is flooding back in. Queen Zwift unlocked the races. New York haunts me now. But I think I have 4 routes left out of all of them, so I am happy I got the stupid forget about it done. And that was absolutely miserable. I don't recommend it to anybody unless it's a group ride. Oh god. Well, it didn't help that I did it in an epic race. So there's also no power-ups, which is just unnecessary self-punishment. Don't do that. Find a group ride that has power-ups. It was, yeah. I did it on a Saturday epic race, and it very much was just, it wasn't a race at that point. It was literally just, I'm here for the badge. It also didn't help that it was not on a great day. My legs were not present at all. Because, like, I have a habit on Saturdays, I don't check my Whoop score if I'm going to be riding in the morning. I check it after I ride. And I had a streak of, like, 3 to 4 greens. I'm like, I should be fine. It's a bad day to not check my Whoop score. It's a bad day to not check my Whoop score. Let me tell you, I felt every bit of that, like, nearly 20 strain. It doesn't help that at that point I think it had me, was it Cat C? And it's a mass start. I can't remember if I was Cat C or Cat D with right at the threshold. Because my ZRS was very close to 350. And so, mass start group, where you're very much on the low end, not great. I completely forgot that the epic races are mass start, and that is punishing. Because everybody, of course, the strategy of mass start is try to hold on to the fastest group you can and pull yourself away from your own group. Yeah. Yeah. And of course I came across a group who didn't really, I don't think they understand the, like, group politics that should happen. When you're not really, like, I mean, let's be honest. 60 kilometers in, we weren't chasing for the win. We were just hoping to survive. Oh, yeah, no, absolutely. Well, and, like, for a little while, I kept up with it for a bit. I did a stupid and didn't warm up first. That was, let's just say I didn't want to wake up any earlier. So, I kind of did myself in immediately. And then, on top of that, the group that I got into, for some reason, we were all the same category. Like, exactly. That's exactly what it was. They kept attacking. And I'm like, what are you guys doing? Like, some of you need to go, like, go watch NorCal Cycling's outdoor race videos and stuff. And, you know, the whole concept of, if you're in a group, in a race, that is not the peloton, your teammates. Like, and the kicker is I kept letting them do their attacks. All of them dropped themselves. So it's not like they were doing it smart. I don't get it. I was last man standing just because I kept a constant pace. It was so bizarre. I'm like, have you guys just never done this long of a race before and you don't know how to conserve? Sure as heck felt like it. Because, man, they all shattered themselves. Thankfully, the expertise of don't chase everything helped. A 1K lead up. You know, honestly, in Zwift, that's probably fairly effective. Like, there's kind of like a textbook distance that people go from now. And if you go too much before that, people don't know what to do anymore. They're just, people panic. It's so interesting to watch. It's this thing of like pattern recognition, 500 to 700 meters. That's where people start winding it up. 300 is like final match go. So if you go before 700 to go, people just lose their minds. It's kind of fun to watch though. I mean, I definitely know, like, in one of the tiny races, Beeble won with that. I mean, the funny thing is, he called it. He called exactly when he was going to go, but it was just early enough that Nobody. Oh, absolutely. IRL, like, people really, if you've never IRL raced, like, I know, for me, IRL racing has bled into Zwift racing for me, and I know it doesn't need to. Like, if I'm in a chase group, I'm gonna do rotations. Because I'm so used to, if you're IRL, and you have no reason to not take pulls, oh, buddy. Like, I know in Zwift, you can't really, like, people can yell at you via text. But if you've never been viscerally yelled at in person for not taking a pull, whoo, oh boy, that is, that is a different world. That is very much a different world. So, like, it's habit for me now that even if it's only 1 or 2 turns, I'm gonna at least try to do a turn. And like, my chat gave me flack one time because in a race, I was too dead. I didn't really get to do much turns. I think I did maybe 1 over like 10 kilometers. And I'm like, I'm not gonna sprint for the win. And they're like, why? And it's like, because that doesn't feel right. Like, I barely deserve to be here. Yeah, exactly. Yep, exactly. 100%. Now, the interesting thing is, having raced, like, some of my earliest races, 2009 to 2011. Yeah, exactly. We're all, exactly. Yep, we're all fresh. Like, racing has changed outdoors so much, I think, partially because of Zwift. Like, 09 to 2011, starts weren't stupid. Starts were reasonable. They weren't easy, but you rarely got the, like, kilometer 0 just go. Oh boy, has that changed. People do Zwift starts now. And it's like, you do realize this is a lot longer than a Zwift race, right? And it's outdoors. Wind counts. Indoors wind doesn't count. It's been, like, having had the opportunity to have seen both sides, pre and post Zwift, it's weird. Yeah, technically, I think my first race was 07. I think. But, like, I really count 09 as, like, first start. Because that's when I really joined a team and, like, kind of actually put in some effort. So, no, I'm there with you. I feel you on that. Definitely not as long as you. But you and I probably have, like, similar early experiences. Pre-power meters, everybody having a computer that they stared at all the time. It was just this, like for me, I had a heart rate strap. I raced on feel. You can't do that anymore. Like, hey, Corbson, how's it going? Everybody has a coach now, whether virtual or physical. Oh my God. Oh, that's so frustrating, Llama. Like, people, because I had that in an IRL race too. Doing well, Corbson. I'm trying to be responsible. It's difficult. One of my first races back outdoors, post-COVID. Like, it was so weird. We got dropped because I was not fit and reminding myself how to race in a bunch. Needless to say, I got yelled at a bit. Fair, I'm not gonna complain. I deserved it. Yeah. Got dropped. And, you know, there's a group of like 7 of us. And 3 people just kept attacking. And I'm like, what are we doing? We're dropped. There's a chance we come back. So 3 of them just attacked and stayed like 10 seconds ahead of us the entire race. And I'm like, guys, we possibly could have come back. Like, 7 is better than 3 and 4. Oh, yeah. Legitimately, I will fully admit, I was on the, like, 110 PSI train until way too recently. And I don't want to admit when that was. Thank God for the Silka calculator. Because, oh boy, did I find out how bad I was at tire pressure. I don't want to admit, but I think starting racing, I was on 21s. Oh, Corbson. New bike fit, new FTP. Dang. I mean, let's be honest. If a new bike fit doesn't come off with a new FTP, even by a little bit, you either had a really good fit or you now don't have a great fit. Oh yeah, Llama. I think 66. 66 is roughly, because I'm only on 25s. So, could I go lower? Probably. But I'm still a little iffy. So, and I should run wider. I should. But I also don't want to pay for new tires. It's part of it. I don't want to pay money. Like, I know I could. Good luck. Appreciate you for stopping by, and always good to chat with somebody who understands my pain of the changing in races. Thanks, you too. So, Corbson, how's the new bike? How's it feel? Is it worth it? I mean, I hope so. I hope it's worth it. I would be concerned if it wasn't. Good. That's always the tough thing. Good. I'm so happy for you. New bike day is... There's not much like it. I feel that. When I got a new bike, I always... Oh, it's a small? Hey. Don't shame it. Because I ride a 52/50. You shame it and you shame me too. That's honestly, so many people get bike size wrong. Yeah, I'm 5'9". So yeah, no, that sounds about right. That is the thing that so many people get wrong, is bike fit. They stretch themselves out too much. But they're so used to watching Tour de France pros ride basically like this. And they're like, I can do that. And it's like, not if you don't do yoga every day. People do not give pros enough credit. They are stupidly flexible and stupidly fit. If you are not, nope. It is. Yeah, no, it's... See, and that's good part of a fit, is it brings you to reality. It's tough sometimes to admit that I'm not what I thought I was. And that's okay. You know, that's why don't slam your stem immediately. If you think you're going to get either lose weight, get more flexible, or get more fit. And if you ride indoors most of the time, there is no reason to be aero. It does not matter. As long as you can crank out the watts, it doesn't matter. Because that's... Woo! Alright, I'm going to go buy that. So many people... And I mean, I'm not one to talk. My frame, or my stem is pretty slammed. But that's also because I bought it secondhand and I didn't really have a choice. So... Can't really change that. I'm also very flexible and I always have been. I was the kid that in 5th grade for like those fitness tests always confused the people that were grading, because I basically, and this is, you know, archaic thought process, I had the flexibility of a female. And so I confused everybody because I was stupidly flexible. Why is my BPM gone? Where did you, why? Bluetooth is really shot on this. What the heck? So I went to the parent screen, is probably what it is. Okay, cool. See, and that's a big thing, is if you're not super flexible, you don't need to be aero, you don't need to have a, you know, a racy bike. Have an endurance bike, which probably is gonna relax you a little bit more. But you're a brick with legs. Hey, I mean, you've told me the reason you're on the bike is to help with that. So in time, you might be more flexible. You might get to, you know, stretch out a little bit and be a little bit more aero. But everybody always looks at it and goes, well, how aero can you get? It's like, who cares? How much do you enjoy your bike? It's all that matters. There is nothing beyond that. If you enjoy your bike, doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. That is what matters. Enjoyment is key. Underrated. Because, I mean, I will admit, I did end up buying my bike for looks. I just got lucky. I also basically bought the new generation of my old bike, so. But I also had to buy mine during COVID. I bought mine January 2021, I think. No, was it January? Or it was early 2021. And so I had to buy my bike without being able to test it. Yep. And you can absolutely have both. 100%. Those are not mutually exclusive. If it makes you happy, it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. That's the heart of it. And too many people put themselves at, what if somebody else think about my bike? Doesn't matter. So, I mean, I had to reason myself with that too. Because I have a very nice bike and I'm aware of it. And I would kind of rock up to group rides and the look of, and it's like, all right. And I always felt I had to prove myself. It's like, no, you don't. You don't have to prove anything. A lot of times I could, but it is what it is. As long as you're happy with it, that's what matters. It's really all it is. And I mean, I come from a place where I fell a lot of love with a bike. So when I got back into it, I did everything in my power to make sure I didn't fall out of love again. It's a tough fight. Now is riding in New York going against that? Kind of. I'll be honest. But I'm also a gamer at my core, and I see XP and badges. And that's motivating enough, apparently. For some stupid reason. See, and that I'm proud of you for doing that. Like, don't settle. Because buyer's remorse sucks. Not enough people realize that. That if you're gonna have buyer's remorse, don't. That hurts. Not getting the bike you wanted is painful. Alright. 2 out of the 4 major climbs done. It's a lot more elevation, but Brooklyn Bridge is really kind of the meat of this route. I don't want to do it 4 times, but I don't have a choice. And yes, you can say you're doing it twice each direction, so it's not 4, but twice each. 4 times. I don't really care. No bath salts. I'm chilling today. I'm trying to be good. I'm still dealing with light saddle sores. That 80-kilometer race really killed me. That took a lot out of parts of me. Yeah, I'm on both. Thankfully, because I've been on Twitch for almost 9 years. Jesus. So yeah, if you hear me chatting and it doesn't seem like there's any chat, it's probably YouTube. The issue is Twitch does not like you to have any other chat on screen. That is against their terms of service. So, unfortunately, I can't broadcast it visually of what people are saying. I have to try to say it. Yeah, Lamo's here. We were reminiscing about old school racing. So yeah, like right now on the other side is Bath Salts on YouTube. Then we got Corpsen on Twitch, so it can be tough. That's why I try to call out the question if I can, but my brain doesn't work like that. That's fine, Bath Salts. So yeah, I've been on Twitch for almost 9 years. I had done YouTube videos before, but I had never done live streaming on YouTube because Twitch banned it. It's part of the affiliate contract, which is stupid. And finally, they released the requirement that you can't dual stream. So, I dual stream now, because why not? No reason not to. So that's part of why I'm not in a habit of like calling out the different sides, because I haven't dual streamed for like 7 years of my streaming career. Career as if I don't have another job. But yeah, I have a part coming in that should help reduce ongoing issue with saddle sores. I've got a 20 millimeter shorter stem, which should let me sit planted more on the saddle. Because I know in racing, I have a habit of being nose heavy, so it should put me back here in a more relaxed position, so I'll be back like this. Which is where I should be. Do you have a job? I don't know, do you? I mean, I would hope you know if you do. It's weird. Today's one of those days where my body feels very weird. I'm not sure if I've been fighting a cold or anything lately. But it's that thing of like, I'm 30 minutes in. I know I'm not doing like a hard effort, but my body sweats as soon as I touch a bike, and I feel cold. But it's a really like clammy cold. It's very weird. I know, so much information everybody wanted to know. But it's a really weird feeling. So I took a gel. I don't normally take a gel unless I'm racing. But when I feel like this, it's like, let's see if a little injection of sugar will help. I didn't have a snack like I should have, which is probably part of the problem too. Before I get on the bike, I know like 30 to 45 minutes before, I normally have some semblance of a snack. Kind of like, I don't know. Did you do the Brompton World Championships or series or whatever it is? How did it go? That's on Greater London Flat, I think. In the C group, that explains it. You won. I'm impressed. Granted, I mean, that is pretty tailored towards you. It's a pretty straightforward course. The only real kick, there's 3. Because you have, what is it, Umberland? That little climb where everybody pushes, but that's early enough. You've got, if it goes back on the backside, you have that little push past Box Hill, and then you've got the escalators coming out. And I think the escalators are like, what? 1 or so K from the line? I think. If I'm remembering correctly. Or is that greatest London flat? Can't remember which one is Greater London and which one's greatest. See, and that's exactly what Llama and I were chatting about. He talks about how he does a 1 kilometer, and it's like, if you break the mold where you don't go when people expect it, people just don't know what to do. They lose their minds. It's like, well, this isn't part of my tactic. And it's like, adapt. Oh, Corbson, I wanted to ask if, how is your knee doing? I know you had been having knee pain, so hopefully the bike fit helped that too. I've learned if you just stop pedaling, this will have you do basically like 30 kilometers an hour anyways. Well, no power almost. So, if you're in a group and they're not doing enough power to go above like 30 kilometers an hour, don't do much effort. A little bit more power to the pedals again. Maybe that'll help. I might grab a Cliff Bar in a second just to see if food helps. I'm actually going to do that. Calm down, Spring. Body's being finicky. Problem with not having normal body composition. Stop giving me draft, dang it. Why? The most useless power of riding solo. Sorry, I can't talk much while eating Cliff Bars. They kind of jam up your mouth. Ugh. There we go. It'll take a couple minutes to see if that helped. This will help with the challenge for New York that I'd like to get done. Ideally. Ugh. Alright. I think I'm back to ability to talk again. Foot bars. Good nutrition. Very difficult to actually process and eat on the bike. But they taste good. If I plan ahead, I would always have something different, but easier said than done. Actually coming up with something that, like, nutritious-wise. I know I've seen some people just do candy, and it's like, yeah, it's a little bit of a fine line for me. I don't want to tear out my teeth that bad. I can pay a little bit more attention to New York this way. I don't think I've actually taken a reasonable pace around New York. I mean, I will say, it's not bad. I'm not a fan of, like, more glass roads, but it's pretty. It does say a fair bit that it's not very crowded. Pretty sparse roads, considering. So, I'm sure they would have liked to see more people on it. But it was gutsy. New York is often one of the most hated on maps. So, to add more roads to New York is an interesting shot. I get it, it seems like there's a lot of dedicated places to people. But still, gutsy choice. And I don't know if it's just me, but it feels like the top of the map in New York is always, like, got a red tinge to it. It's very weird. Not like the actual skybox, but the map itself always seems to have this red tint. And I don't know, like, have I not realized it's in more places? Is it just New York? It's very weird. I'll be happy to get the 2 Brooklyn Bridge climbs out of the way. Unfortunately, there is one route longer than this one. Still only like half the 80-kilometer race, so can't complain too much. I don't know if any of them go back over the KOM, like the New York City KOM. I think they just use the Brooklyn Bridge and maybe the hill. Because interestingly enough, this one doesn't go into Prospect Park. It's pretty much exclusively on the new roads, but it doesn't touch Prospect Park, which is interesting. No worries. I am completely fine with people just lurking. I will never complain. I am absolutely guilty of that all the time. It's just kind of been my habit to kind of converse. It's, I don't know, ingrained in me as a streamer, because when I first started streaming, that's like the thing that they hammer into you. And I know on Zwift it's not as expected because oxygen. When you're playing just a regular game, you kind of, oxygen's not at a premium. Granted, I'm only doing Zone 2, so if oxygen was at a premium and I'm doing Zone 2, I need to get off the bike. That'd be concerning. Was that I think a triathlon pro behind us? If I remember right. No worries. No, the main thing is I just wanted to make sure your knee was doing better after the fit. Hope that helped sort that out a bit. Because I had to do a bike fit once when my knee was out. You just blame me. It's like, well, it's this guy I'm watching. It's his fault. He keeps asking questions. Good. Yeah, no, that combination should help. Because it's that tough thing. If you have a knee problem or any pain when you're doing a bike fit, it kind of alters the bike fit. Because I know I had to get a bike fit when my knee was not doing well. And the bike fit sucked. It was so painful. But I knew I had to get through it because I was going to help with the knee pain. That is a double-edged sword and a half that is not fun. So, the positive of it, but the negatives, you have to deal with it in order to get the bike fit. Now, should I have let it get that bad? No. Am I smart? No. Have I learned my lesson? Probably not. I'll be honest. I'm not going to sugarcoat that fact. I would probably do it again. I mean, that's always the good part, too. Is when you get a bike fit, you do get some knowledge with it. Which, I mean, is also... A bike fitter, their goal is not to see you all the time. Like, that's not a great thing. Usually with a bike fit, they can do, like... Some will offer, like, from a month later, come back and double check. Make sure everything's still, you know, you've settled in your new position and you're not having any nagging pains or anything. So. At least a lot of the good ones will do that. Because you don't want to do a bike fit and have somebody kind of fix one problem and develop another. Because a bike fit is also not entirely on the bike fitter or the technology. Sometimes it's on the cyclist, to be honest. Thanks, Curtis. It's a delicate balance to get right. This Rammstein? No. Sounds like it, but it's not. Interesting. Alright. On to the two final kickers. This has got to be a remix of Rammstein. It has to be. I refuse to believe it's not. I'm not familiar with the song it's remixed. It's gotta be. I haven't, like, directly listened to Rammstein in a long time now. Not, like, out of intention. It's just... It doesn't pop up on my feed. That's always been, like... Semi-bucket list item is going and seeing them in concert. Because their pyrotechnics are stupid. Their music. Something else. So, like, the scene of their concert in the movie Triple X It's not far off. That is something that they do. And it looks ridiculous and fun. Like, I think in some of their concerts in Germany, they literally have pyro towers. Like, in the audience. It's like, what the heck? That's ridiculous. I feel like part of it is they have a band just to experiment with stuff. Just because they can. And they're definitely pyros at heart. That's unquestionable. And if you've never listened to them, you should. It's that thing of, I knew their music before I watched Triple X. And then I watched Triple X and then went back and put the pieces together and I'm like, oh. Hey, Wacky, how's it going? This is a very interesting remix playlist. I'm sick of this bridge. I've ridden this so many times that I've never once seen it in person. The irony is I lived in New England for so long. And I've been through New York so many times. Never been to New York City. Awesome. Hopefully you have a safe trip home. I'm just trying to get more route badges, which unfortunately means I have to do New York. So I think I have 11 total route badges that I still have to get. Because they keep adding more. And it's not like, they're not new roads, they're just new routes. It's like, oh my god. I don't want to rehash the same routes over and over. Yeah, I'm glad I didn't race today. Legs aren't up to racing. They're here. They don't want to race. Alright. Almost done this. And there's one more time. I think the other side is shallower. I think. Bought my useless power up. Hopefully get a better one. I've had so many draft power ups. Oh, I'm gonna get. Okay. Punch me in the throat, why don't you? Give me a feather, dang it. Even an arrow. I take an arrow. I've had all draft or XP, except for one arrow. So I think there's at least one hidden arch that's not included on that list. So I think I've had 5 power-ups. Only one of them has been useful. 3 draft, 1 arrow, 1 XP. That's just so maddening. 10K left. One main kicker, tiny kicker, and then the escalators. Almost home free. I'll be happy once I get Brooklyn Bridge done, though. That'll be nice. Even though I think they named it Manhattan Bridge, which is weird. Back over. No, it is Brooklyn Bridge, so I guess one way is Manhattan, one way is Brooklyn? I don't know. I'm just gonna call them both Brooklyn Bridge because I'm not a New Yorker. DJ can come by one day and yell at me. I'll allow it. That'd be fair. I don't know what I'm talking about. Nor do I pretend that I'm a New Yorker, nor do I want to be. Oh, there's somebody over there. That is an ominous looking building. That like deep gray. That is insanely ominous. Alright. Last real kicker. Clothing isn't too bad. Nice to get over this. Drop down the other side. Then we don't come back. Looks like Avengers Tower over there. I'd love to see the inspiration for where some of these buildings came from. Like, how many of them are legitimate influence? How much of them are from sci-fi or what? It sucks when a bridge is a climb. Alright. A nice downhill. Sharp little kicker. I think we only have like 50 meters of climbing left. That's actually helpful for once. Music. Why are you doing so poorly today? Whew. Yeah, and I should say I apologize for not doing a Monday stream this week. Things have been chaos. Like, it's been a month. I'll be happy when everything settles. Might be a little bit, though. Very much looking forward to that. Thanks, Darren. Alright. We use the feather on the uphill here. Hope it makes it a little bit less unpleasant. About as built as I am. Probably why we went downhill so fast. Wait until we get to the orange. Try to get as much use of that feather as possible. Not too shabby. Last really nasty, consistent pitch. After this, it settles for a while. Ah. I think we're both doing the same course. I don't know how their kilometer count is off by a little bit compared to mine. There's like 50 meters more than mine. I guess the spawn end point. Alright, last escalators. 4 to 4 on this. Little kick, and then one more. I think we have like 30 meters. Almost done. I know it doesn't support virtual shifting. I really wish I could turn that on notice off. It's just how I hold my hands. I'm not actually trying to shift, so I'm fine. I'm aware. Yeah, and the Clif Bar did help. So, maybe not enough sugar, not enough food, I don't know. Very weird. Or just combination of like sweating in the cold and body not heating up. I don't know. My body's weird. I am not doing a 10-second effort. Thank you, Swift. Escalators enough. I'm not going to use the feather for this because it's not very useful. I'll use it for the bump outside. Alright. Alright, there we go. Have to pay attention to the map ahead and see when to use my feather. Can't remember when the best time is. Need the map to pop up again so I can see. Show me the gradients, Swift. Alright, so not this one, it's later. That triple yellow is the best time, probably. This is too short. It's steep, but too short to be useful. You can carry enough speed on this. There we go. Little kicker here. Alright, and we'll come to the last one and I'll use my feather there. Of course it gives me feathers on the inconsequential climbs. Not the ones where it would really matter. Try to get the most out of my feather here. Not quite all the way, but pretty good. I'll take it. It was worth it, that's all that matters. Ah. Now a lot of downhills. Should be pretty chill now. 2K left. Like 3 meters of climbing left. 2 meters. One meter. So this will probably be the last of the climbing right here. Nope. Close. There's got to be a tiny little bump somewhere up here. Literally worth a foot or two. I want to bike up that walkway down there. That looks like fun. The one here to our left. That'd be kind of cool. I know Swift. It's fine. Just because you have shifting spots is a very weird thing on the Swift plays. I'm sure at the Swift clicks, it's not a problem. Now we have a remix of Enter Sandman? It's weird. Oh, we finished off all the climbing. Cool. Yeah, so it is Manhattan Bridge and Brooklyn Bridge. I didn't know. I knew one was Brooklyn Bridge, I just thought they both were. I realized they were two. Every New Yorker is cringing at this moment in time. But, oops. Cool. This will be a nice one to check off the list. One less route to do in New York. I'm fine with that. I think that this is less than half of the race that I did. That hurts inside. I should do that race. Ugh. It's been a while since I've done an epic race, but most times they're not that long. It was a hefty race. Oh. Somebody's riding the cruiser. Alright. Alright. So that's 1 out of 4 done. That's nice. So it does get that done. Spinfinity. I think. There we go. So 240 kilometers, such a random amount. Movement's pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. Pretty solid. Zone 2, 3. A little bit of zone 4, but not too much. Streak freeze yet? No, that's fine. Alright. Oh, that's why. Interesting. Okay. It still allowed me to ride New York. Huh. Cool. I'll take that. So yeah, we have... Okay, so we do have to do all 3 of those. 42.3k, so not too much more climbing. Is that the same thing? Just no. Okay. So 1 time, 2 times. Okay, so you only go across the bridge twice. That's not bad. What's the limit? Two times?
Can you feel that?
Okay, 2 times. Is this 1, 2? Okay, cool. That's the one that has the most bridge crossing. I'm fine with that. Awesome. Alright, thank you everybody for joining. Latest I'll be back probably Saturday. We'll see if I do something tomorrow, but at minimum I should be back Saturday. We'll see what the tiny races are, because my ZRS max has apparently gone down. So I'm not being shafted by ZRS anymore, so we'll see. It really depends on what they're doing for it, though. But thank you everybody for joining. I'll either see you tomorrow or Saturday. Have a good one, and I will see you next time.